To the Growth Room with David Daniels. Today, we're incredibly fortunate to have Margaret Hay, the visionary founder and co-owner of Thriving in the Third Act. Mickey, as she likes to be called, with her Andrews University PhD, has dedicated her career to empowering, individuals and organizations with unique professional development uh, techniques. Today, we'll be diving into her unique approach to organizational consulting and exploring the significant trends she's observed in the industry. Mickey, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you,
How
David.
are you today?
Thanks.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I comment a little bit on your introduction. I appreciate the beautiful job you did. I also want to correct the idea that I'm a co-owner because I am a solopreneur.
I'm sorry about
That's
that.
okay. That's okay. I'm a solopreneur. It's just me doing Thriving in the Third Act, and I'm
Right.
helping individuals one-on-one navigate retirement
Okay,
from a
great.
psychosocial aspect, not
No doubt.
using my leadership skills and education.
No doubt. No doubt. Coaching how to mentally prepare for your third act in life, correct?
That's right. That's correct. And perhaps your listeners, well, I think that whole notion of third act has been out for a little while. I appropriated it from Jane Fonda, I think, who did a YouTube or TED Talk or something where she referred to the third act. And I glommed onto that because I get it. I think your first act is when you're growing up and going through education and determining who you're going to be as an
Right,
adult. And then your second act is all that adulting that you do,
right,
getting into your career and perhaps starting a family and going about that business. And then the third act is when you move into transition. And
right,
that could be, the ending of a marriage or last kid going off to college. But the people that I like working with are the ones who are leaving their profession and wondering what's next. Some people have those plans, but what they don't plan for often is the somewhat unexpected experience of being in transition from a career to no career. And what that looks like and what that feels like is often different than we expect.
no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Can you share a little bit about your background to kind of bring you to this point?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I had a couple of careers, but my first one was as an insurance agent. So we are going back some time, and that's before I knew what I really wanted to do. And I was in college and I was a good agent and I was successful, but I knew I wanted to help people in a different way. So finished my bachelor's, I got a master's in counseling. And to use that, I really wanted to focus on people who were excited about learning, who wanted to learn, who were building their careers or deciding what they wanted to do. So I immediately went into higher ed.
Nice,
And I
very
worked at a
nice.
couple of colleges, ended that after 25 years, and decided to take that and along the way got a PhD in leadership. And I just love leadership because, again, I think my passion is all about developing people
Right,
in whatever way they need. And I believe that that is partly knowledge, helping people the resources with knowledge. And I think it's also a psychosocial thing. So I have been able to, in my coaching, help people from that psychosocial level and also from that leadership resource
right.
level. And combining those means I can be a pretty supportive partner in that coaching relationship. So in recent years, I've started to have the feeling that I want to do more with one-on-one. I've been in leadership development with a partner where we did academies with businesses and organizations, a very successful business. And we hired another partner, and that kind of gave me the feeling like I can probably leave this to them.
Right.
They're both 13 years younger than me, and they are working to build that business. And
Right.
I decided to return back to my coaching practice, Thriving in the Third Act. And so that's what I'm doing. And as of July 1st, I'll be in that fully. I have several clients, and I am really fascinated by how everybody makes the transition differently.
Right, right. I was going to ask you about that because I always hear a lot about baby boomers and how they're, out here. And then my generation, I guess, is probably either one or two generations after the baby
Yeah.
boomers, Gen X.
Mhm.
Is there a big difference between the generations in your mind, or do we all kind of go through the same thing when it comes to that point?
Well, I don't know what your generation is going to go through when you get ready to retire, but I can tell you that I'm on the tail end of the baby boomers, and I don't hold me to this, David, but I thought I heard that 6,000 people in this country retire every day.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can
And
imagine.
that provides opportunity, not
No
just
doubt.
for people who are retirement planners or coaches that help people navigate retirement, but also for the people who are ready to fill that vacuum that the
True.
leader leaves. And I think that's the part that some leaders don't expect to deal with. So uh, I I like to work with people 18 to 12 to 18 months before they really do retire, because here's what happens. When someone announces to the company, the organization, that they're going to retire, after the initial, people are happy for you, they are excited for you, they are maybe regretful that they don't have longer to work with you, they laud you for all the impact, and then they start to think about what they're going to do when you leave
Right.
and what opportunities you're creating by getting out of the seat. So it's amazing how that is not expected. Often we've worked with companies where a person retires, and if they were the executive leader, they keep coming back. Maybe they attend meetings and they're not necessarily wanted or needed at those meetings, but they feel like they still need to have a voice or a purpose. So I help people navigate that so that they can fulfill their purpose, but in a different avenue, in a different way, in a different environment. And that takes a lot of self-knowledge, self-awareness, and exploration with an open mind to what else can I do where I can feel like I'm making a contribution, like I'm still
Right.
making an impact. Because once you walk out the door, people are going to forget about you pretty quickly. I learned this when I was still at the college, and someone said to me, she said, Mickey, I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but you'd think you're all that in a bag of chips, but two years after you leave this place, people are going to say, Mickey, who?
Well,
And at the moment, that kind of stung when I heard
right.
that. But you know
Right.
what? That's exactly what happened. I mean, some of the things that I like poured my heart and soul into, they were they were gone in 2 years. Most of my staff was gone within 2 years. They had a whole new group of people, and that's what happens. Turnover, and that's happening a lot more right now. In fact, just today, I've been in contact with two people who have either decided, one person decided to leave his position, and another person lost her position. So there are people that are heading into transition, and you're seeing it around you everywhere. The changes, organizations are tightening up, or they're dealing with budgetary concerns, and people are looking for meaning. Like, okay, what's
Right.
next? And that's where I come in.
Wow, wow, wow. So it looks like you've had the business about 5.5 years when you first, I guess, founded it.
Yeah.
Are there any major shifts that you're seeing in the industry since you started?
When I first started Thriving in the Third Act, so 5 years ago,
Mhm.
um, mostly I wasn't working with people who were retiring. Most of the people I was working with were, mid 50s, and they were going through some kind of a transition, or they wanted to go through some kind of a transition. So
Right.
I had classes for people who were trying to figure out what was next and wanted to explore themselves and what they might do. So that include things like assessments, strength assessments, personality assessments. And then often it was people who were in a transition in their family life. So someone who had just gone through a divorce and now they were a single parent, or somebody who
Right.
were now in an empty nest, or someone who wanted to move to
Right.
another part of the country and wanted to explore what their life might be if they moved cross country
Right.
or had an
All these things
entirely
that you're
different
saying make,
lifestyle.
yeah, all these things you're saying make you sound like what the outside world would say are possibly midlife crises.
Oh, maybe.
Um,
Yeah, in some
is
cases
that
it
kind of
can
like
be.
a bad word to you, or I mean,
Oh, no, I think that should be called midlife opportunity.
there you go, there you
You know,
go,
so
there you go.
you've heard that adage when God closes a door, he opens a window,
There we go.
or something along those lines. I
Yep.
mean, I think any time life throws some change to you, whether you chose it or not, it's a wonderful opportunity to dig deep and say, okay, so in this new iteration of my
Right.
life, who am I?
Right.
What's my purpose? What do I really want to experience in my life? And most people don't say, I want to do this kind of work. They think, I want to have this kind of life. What kind of work will support that? And I think that can be true at any time of life.
No doubt, no doubt. So, what made you change from dealing with the midlife opportunities directly to retirement?
Well, I didn't, I took a bypass in the middle of all of that. So I'd
Sure.
started my coaching practice. It was absolutely fine. And I was speaking, doing some public speaking. And after a meeting, a woman came up to me and said, I like what you're talking about. Could we talk some more? Are you interested in getting some coffee? And that person and I ended up working together doing leadership development. So from 2013 until now,
Right.
we had a leadership development company, and we worked with, and she and the other partner now continue to work with every industry you can imagine. They start with the top level leaders with an executive leadership academy. It's very rich. It's full of training and assessment and one-on-one coaching in addition to the training. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it and did that well for 12, 13 years. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but as I'm heading into my mid 60s, I'm really interested in the people who are like me
Right.
going through the experience of retirement because I am going through my second retirement and very interested in what that transition feels like and how I can smooth the way for people.
No
And
doubt.
that's been calling me for the last year or so. So that's what I'm doing as of July 1st completely.
Nice, 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 nice. What would you say is working well for you right now, and maybe what's a frustrating point
I,
in the business right now?
yeah, so I that's a good question, and I think that there probably is a lot more help out there than I realize, but I really had a lot of trouble with oh, the whole how do I show up in the world? I mean, my way of going about business is very relational, that I don't care to do business development. I'm not interested in sending out a newsletter. I don't want to engage in social media. And
Right,
people say if you're not willing to do those things, you might as well forget having a business. And that's been a challenge for me because it has worked for me before not to do all of that, but just to be
right,
relational, to talk to people, to take opportunities, to meet people, but in a real casual way, to offer myself in service to people. And I still have to have a website because I know if you were to say, "Hey, I know this woman who does this kind of coaching for leaders, check her out."
exactly.
If they have no place to look,
Yep.
they're not just going to reach out to me and say, "Who are you and what do you do?" So it took a long time to get a website together. And the next thing I know I need to do is update my LinkedIn profile, and that's not something I'm excited to do. I
Yeah,
just want to do the coaching, If I
right,
could have somebody else do that stuff for me,
Right.
that would be ideal. But I don't want to pay anybody because I'm just on my own.
Got you. Got you. I got you. With the business, where do you see yourself, in 12 to 18 months from now?
12 to 18 months. That's so lovely. So, one of the things I've always dreamed of is being able to take significant time off, like take a month off around Christmas or take a month off in the summer. I've worked steadily since I was 13 years old.
Wow.
And the most I've ever had away from work at any time was like 2 weeks.
Right.
And I am really looking forward to um, being able to conduct my business remotely because I can coach people remotely effectively, although I really prefer one-on-one in person, but I can do it remotely. And being able to maybe travel for a month, check in with my clients and still be able to have adventures. I'm ready
Mm.
for more fun and adventure and travel and maybe sometimes getting out of the winter up in northern Indiana for a bit
Please
and
do.
seeing parts of the world I haven't seen yet.
There
So
you go.
that's what I'm looking forward to. And I'm kind of in a good position to be able to do that and still be in service to people.
Nice, nice. So if you had a magic wand to fix the one thing in business that's holding you back, that would probably be it. Just
It
to
would,
become
yeah.
more
I
remote.
Mhm. I think
Nice.
managing my calendar to allow me freedom because I'm also an avid learner, constant learner, and in my in the leadership development, you pointed out that I had a title of Chief Learning Officer. Well,
Right.
that's because I have in my Clifton Strengths. I don't know if you've ever taken the Clifton Strengths, but
Sure.
my top strengths are connectedness, intellection, input, learner. So put that together and I'm voracious. I mean, you can see
Oh
this
yeah.
is only one room full of books, but I have books everywhere in my house and always learning. And if there was an appropriate PhD, another PhD I could pursue, boy, I would go for it. I really would because I just love learning. And I would love to have more time to do that, to just continue to learn and grow and develop myself because I think that translates very well to helping others learn, develop, and grow.
Right, right. Last question. With in your coaching in your mind as far as your coaching business, would you ever allow other coaches to help you out, or maybe you'd free up more time for yourself, or what do you think is so personal to you that you want to just do it all yourself?
So you're asking me if I would ever welcome a partner.
Yeah,
Yeah. It entirely depends on who that
it
person
is.
is.
I got
I was so fortunate to find the partner that I had worked in leadership development with. She and I were a perfect match for each other and became really close friends alongside the work together. And that was just like, that was a match made in heaven. So if another match made in heaven comes along and there's another person who really has a desire for working with people in transition
you. Right,
into retirement and has some knowledge about what that's like, what that's all about, and is open to all of the many ways that I assess people,
right.
because I can share all of that. I would, yeah, sure, of course. The more the
Love it.
merrier.
Love it, love it. I come across a lot of people who, they don't ever feel as though they'll ever find that match made in heaven, like you're saying. And they definitely it would be very, very hard for them to give up that not control, but give up that directive, that they, feel is just for them in their coaching business. So
I
I
love
understand.
partnership. I do. And if there was the right person, I would definitely partner with
Very
somebody.
nice.
I think we
Very
could
nice.
build a really exciting business. And having another person means that, we can trade off. If I really do want to take an actual vacation where I'm out of pocket and not available, wouldn't it be great if I
Right.
had somebody else who was back at the office taking care
Right.
of calls and meeting with people? So, absolutely. We'll see
Right.
what God has in store for me.
No doubt, no doubt, and that's for both of us for sure, for sure. Well, Mickey, this was great. Obviously, thank you for sharing your insights. on your business, your background, where this industry is going. I really, really appreciate you coming on the Growth One. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, David.